right. Well, welcome in, folks. We've made it to the point of the season where we all knew was coming. It was no shock to say that KU is out before the end of the first weekend. But I can't believe this team tricked me in that first half. It's almost more brutal for them to bring us in one last time, to reel us in to the point where I'm sitting there thinking, like, wow, I mean, Timberlake actually does seem like a guy that can be a decent contributor. And, oh, man, Furphy's getting it going. And Hunter and Juan, this pick and roll, like, oh, this is great. No, that team showed exactly who they are in the second half. And I think it sucks because there were injuries, but I think it is 100% fair to officially label this team as the worst team of the Bill Self era, and the record would match it. And I don't think it's all about skill, and I don't think it's all about talent. I think this team just lacked a competitive side to it, and I think that's what was so frustrating about this second half and this second half of this entire season. But we'll get into all that. We'll start to look ahead because I am so glad that we will never have to watch that team play basketball ever again. But we might see something similar next year, so that's what we're going to talk about. But before we do, B-turn, AB, give me your guys' thoughts.
Yeah, the first half was pretty wild. Hunter was knocking down threes. Dajuan's hitting threes. Nick and Furphy, we were 7 for 11 from three, and I tweeted it. We hadn't hit more than 7 threes in a game since January, a full game, and we hit 7 in the first half. And honestly, to only be up 1 was just kind of a shame. Like, I know Gonzaga's a really good team and they have scores, but you go 7 for 11 from three and couldn't miss from the floor, and you're only up by 1.5, score 44 points. It just kind of sucked. And then I texted the group chat with us in it, kind of saying that we needed to do something similar in the second half to have a chance. And we were 4 for 25 from the floor at one point, and Gonzaga started 11 of 12 from the floor, 12 of 14 from the floor, something like that. And it was just exactly what was happening in the first half. You're running the pick and roll. Hunter's really slow on his feet. They're going to get wide open layups all game long. Like, it's just inevitable. And then it's going to open up everything else for them too. So yeah, we would have had to score 50-ish points to have a chance to win in that second half. And it just felt inevitable that Gonzaga would at least pull away a little bit and at least win. But yeah, I don't know. You said it, most losses in the Bill Self era, which, yeah, we've been a little spoiled, but the way they started this year, I didn't really picture this season ending like this after how they played in non-con, but we kind of knew this was coming into the tournament, and we all said that if they would have made the second weekend, we probably would have celebrated.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it was feeling like. After that first half, it felt like a win today would have felt like a freaking Final Four type celebration, at least for KU Twitter. But wasn't even close, AB. What do you got?
Not a whole lot more than what you guys have to say, boys, but all I'm saying is we better not run it back next year because it doesn't work.
On that topic, I have breaking news, an interesting quote that just came out from KJ Adams after the game. I apologize if I pronounce this name wrong. Shreyas Lada with the KC Star asked KJ if he's coming back next year, and KJ said he does not know yet. So, who knows? There could be more to that quote around. It could be more of like, I got to sit down and talk with my family and make the right, they always kind of give those answers. But for a guy that's a junior and isn't on draft boards, that is an interesting comment.
He's the only guy with any fight in this fucking team, though. He's the only one that shows that he cares. So, yeah, maybe he's the issue fit-wise, but we're going to have to make up for it. A lot of heart and effort when it comes to whoever we bring in. So, even if that's the answer, which I think we all think it is schematically, I don't know that really solves much on the deeper side of things.
I mean,
I'm frustrated, boys.
No, I get it. And that kind of just shot chills down my spine. I don't know why. I know we talked about KJ potentially not starting and that the spacing is obviously an issue. I think if most KU fans, if they had to choose, they would pick him not to start. And it's not even a knock on him, but I at least thought maybe obviously he's not gone, but we talked about him being a 6-man. I know he's been here. He was on the national title team. He was on the floor at the end of that game. He started every game last year on a 1 seed. And all the stuff he's been through and how hard he plays, that would make me pretty sad. I mean, I don't want him to start just because of the fit within this team. But the fact that it's a debate and that he's questioning it is kind of wild because he's obviously not going to the league. He's not going overseas. He would obviously just transfer to another school. So yeah, that is pretty crazy.
But here's the thing. I agree. KJ Adams is a gamer. Like he does try. He does have a lot of fight. He does care deeply about winning in this team. But what we've seen is it just that doesn't really matter when you. It doesn't matter if the other guys leave and you completely retool this entire lineup. Let's say Hunter and Dajuan leave. Let's say Hunter leaves. As we've said, AB, we've had this argument. That still doesn't solve anything because you still got to go find a bunch of guys that are dogs. Either way, this team has to bring in guys that are not only talented, but also extremely, they got to have the fight. This team 100% lacked any sort of ability to punch back. They got taken into the face. Like, every time they'd get punched, they'd roll over. That was it. And so either way, to me, we've got to go find guys that can score. We've got to go find guys that are just flat out better gamers than we've seen on this roster. And I do think if we're talking about the best start to what that looks like, I think, as we've said, you can't just run back Dajuan, KJ, Hunter and hope it works. And so Dajuan's already said he's back. Bill Self desperately wants Hunter back. And so I think it would make the most sense if Bill Self was truly going to kind of be a savage this offseason, whether it's right or wrong, it may be having a conversation with KJ of like, we just can't play you 35 minutes a game anymore. But I'd be shocked. I really would be shocked if he did that.
Right. That's been my whole thing the whole time is like, KJ probably is the answer of who needs to go, but I just never saw Bill Self doing it or having that. Like, it just felt like he was too much of a Bill Self guy for that to ever be a realistic possibility. Now, I guess it actually is if he's saying that 5 minutes after the game ends, but I don't know, man. I don't even know where to go from here. There's one comment I want to talk about just because this guy's been living in the Ain't No Seats live comments for the past couple weeks. Who on earth would you rather have coach the Kansas Jayhawks right now?
There's just no way he's a KU fan.
Who? Tell me right now. I'm gonna have this comment waiting on the screen until I get a reply with who he would like to have as coach instead of Bill Self, the guy that won a national championship 2 years ago.
Eric Spoelstra?
Yeah. I mean, it's just
would take.
I get the frustration, but let's not take it out on the wrong person here. And I'm not saying Bill is not to blame for what's happened this year at all, because obviously the roster has questions. He made the whole staff made questionable moves. Like there's obviously. Okay,
wait, sure. I didn't mean to do that. I meant to do this one.
No,
before we, and this may be where we were leaning, but like,
it's not a KJ issue. It's a spacing issue and a fit issue. You can't start Hunter Dickinson and KJ Adams together. Dajuan Harris looks like a hell of a point guard when he has NBA wings surrounding him. Just like 2022, we were tough on him, but then tournament time came, and then Juan locked in defensively and distributing wise. Juan isn't who our fans want him to be. He's not a scorer. We've said that for 4 years. That's not what he is. You guys know that. The coaching staff knows that. He's a distributor. He gets everyone involved. He defends. He's not going to become this elite scorer in the offseason either. So when he's back next year and you guys are complaining about him every single game, I don't know what to tell you because you've watched him play for 4 years now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but I can kind of see
he's
get
terrible
why
around
people
the
are
rim.
saying that because like KJ 100% felt like he had more fight than Dajuan at times during this season. But yeah, you're right. It's not about anyone wanting KJ to be gone. It's just about being realistic. But on the other side of that, Dajuan, I think we have to remember that, and I've said this, I didn't want this episode to get into this conversation, but I guess we've made it, so we might as well. We're at the end of the year.
9 minutes in, baby.
But it's like Dajuan, he wasn't playing 35 minutes a game on the national title team. He wasn't playing was he even playing 30 minutes in the title run? Like,
once Remy got going, I doubt it.
We had to get Remy in there and by the way, we would have lost to Creighton if Remy Martin doesn't play the second round. So like there is still an element of like, I think the same conversation we have where we say, man, KJ just can't play 35 to 40 minutes a game. I think that same argument can be made about Dajuan Harris, and I know Bill Self's not turning his back on Dajuan Harris. Like,
No.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
Dajuan's here to stay. Like you said earlier, they've pretty much already said he's back. So I think him and Hunter running the pick and roll, and then you surround him with hopefully 3 shooters. I don't know who that's going to be. With the KJ thing, I mean, Rye, you were like the first one to say it a year ago. Like, KJ Adams is going to start every game he's at Kansas. And I think me and AB agreed. Like, we agreed with that. We kind of ran with that statement. And so it's just a shock to me. But I think just landing Hunter has kind of, I guess, taken that sentence.
Well, and it was also just hard because we had never seen KJ play the 4.
Yeah.
AB's not messing around.
Yeah. I didn't know I was going to ban it. I saw the literal quote that I saw. It said, "Put him in timeout." So I put him in timeout.
Wow,
put him in timeout.
In timeout. That's good to know.
So here's the thing. Just like, I don't even want to get into this. I'm sorry.
Bill Self.
No, not Bill Self.
Well, I do want to have a conversation about Self here in a second.
Yeah, there is a lot to talk about with Bill Self. I'm not saying he's completely like out of like, it's not like he was perfect this year, perfect today. It's clearly not the case. I don't know how we can look at it and say that he needs to be gone.
I mean,
one tournament loss since 2020. One tournament loss in 3 seasons.
We're 2 years removed from a natty, and then you lose Och, CB, and Dave, and the next year you're a 1 seed.
And he didn't coach.
And don't get to coach in the tournament. Like, and this year, I mean, I'm telling, how many coaches in the country could coach this team to a 4 seed? I'm not saying we need to celebrate.
Jerome Tang for one.
I'm not saying we need to celebrate being a 4 seed, but I mean, you have Kevin McCullough, Johnny Furphy, but there's not many coaches that could take this team even to the tournament. I mean, I don't know if you guys agree with that. That's probably a hot take, but the fact that Bill hasn't been worse than a 4, hasn't missed a tournament, best winning percentage in KU history, tied for the most Final Fours, most national titles, best coach in KU history. Like,
but I think the comment, like a K-State fan that would be watching this would say that's an insane thing to say, considering you brought in a guy that averages 20 and 10. You have a guy that was a projected lottery pick as of 3 weeks ago, and a starter from a national title team, and so like. We still have plenty of talent. I think, Bill at times got stuff out of this team, but I would also argue that once McCullough got hurt, Bill really didn't get much out of this team. We won some home games, and that was it. Like, we won some home games, and we beat a 13 seed that we probably should have lost. But, I mean, overall, you look at what he did in the beginning of the year, he was great. Like, beating Kentucky, beating UConn, I'll still never quite understand how this team went from that level of play to what we saw. But obviously,
I mean, Tennessee, UConn was at Allen, and AB, we know that place is just a cheat code. Tennessee might be the most impressive loss or impressive win, because I know Tennessee was on like a short turnaround, but we were like 10 hours later. Tennessee looks like a wagon, especially defensively, and then finally they have a score with Connect. But even that win with KJ coming off the family stuff, and KJ and the guys getting no sleep, and they just got punked by Marquette, and they win that game. So that's when I kind of really thought like this team was super tough. And then, right, you kind of said it. The games on the road when they were tight in Big 12 play, they just couldn't find a way to win.
I would love to. My fear with this comment, and Mitch is right, like, we lost a ton last year. My fear is it feels like we're going to have to do that again.
I think he was talking about before this season.
Yeah, so you lose Arterio
and Kev.
Oh,
that's how I took it, at least.
Oh, I thought he just meant last year losing, like,
both are true.
Joe, Uday, all those guys that transferred. I don't know. Either way, my fear is that that's just going to become the norm in college basketball a little bit, which is a really scary thing, because I think we need these program guys that are around for multiple years.
Can I ask how many guys you think are going to be back next year? If I set the over under at 2.5 total, whole roster, not walk-ons, obviously, but scholarship guys.
I'd say over. I still think KJ, Dajuan, and Hunter will be back, and I think Furphy will be back.
Yeah, I have no idea what to think about Furf. I know it was like a foregone conclusion that he was gone. He was going in the lottery. We still talk about how weak the draft class is, and he kind of disappeared to end the year, which a lot of freshmen do. But I still feel like NBA franchises take chances on these guys with a ton of potential. He's obviously really young, 6'8", can shoot it. I really have no clue. So
This is the problem. I would have loved zone. Gonzaga can't shoot. They don't shoot threes. They don't.
Hickman's
They were
their only good
insane today.
shooter.
And I hate to be that guy to be like, oh, another year that KU loses in the tournament where the other team just shoots the lights out. Essentially what happened today. We were talking before. This team is like 200s in 3-point percentage on the year. Like,
yeah. Hickman's their only good shooter. Like Nembhard doesn't shoot it well from deep. I know they have two really good bigs, EK and Watson, but they don't really do damage from outside. And then a lot of our fans were talking about the depth, and yeah, we obviously struggled with depth. We didn't have a ton of studs off the bench. Gonzaga's the same way. They strictly play 7 guys with the Stromer dude off the bench and then the other big who's like 6'10". So that's kind of what I was worried about, though, was just the trees for Gonzaga. They start 3 guys over 6'8" with Watson. What was the guy's name? Ben Gregg.
Yeah,
2 first names. And then, EK. So I was worried because I knew Hunter would get his, but I was worried about KJ just kind of scoring over the trees, because that's really what KJ has kind of done. He just bullies, puts his shoulder down, tries to finish. So I worried about us scoring, and then we score 44 points in the first half. Like, if I tell you guys that before the game, you would think we have some sort of – I know we were up 1, but just could not get a stop. And then they come out second half, 11 for 12 from the floor, 92%. It's like – and they're getting whatever they want.
It was 2019 Auburn in reverse. Like, it was that game completely – I could not believe that that's how that second half started. I knew they were going to come out cooking. Like, I knew they weren't going to slow down offensively. I just didn't think we would be that bad, which we should have. I mean, that's what this team has been. So
I felt like the effort was not, maybe they got worn down or tired, but the effort was not close to what it was in the first half. Did you guys not feel like everyone on Kansas was active on the glass in the first half?
Timberlake was going in.
Yeah.
I think the pace for sure got us. I mean, we were gassed. I think we played at a pace that was a little risky, but you had to do it. But that game was up and down. I mean, we got a TV timeout with 1 second left. That means from the 8-minute mark to 1 second, there was pretty much hardly any stoppages. And that means there were 0 stoppages from 4 minutes on to 1 minute. So I think that really did wear guys out. Now,
yeah, you could tell too, all their shots that missed were off the front of the rim. Layups, jumpers, everything was short. Hook shots from Dickinson, everything was short, and it probably had to do with playing 36 fucking hours ago against a team that pressed for 40 minutes
and
jumping into
by the NCAA there.
Can I just get upset about that really quick? Why did they literally change the entire schedule of the NCAA tournament to have the Salt Lake City pod be the first fucking pod of the day?
Money, because it allowed them to get Arizona, Kansas, and UNC all in their own little window, right?
I guess, but it's so bizarre because these games always start at 11:15 and then 1:45. That's how they do. That's how it is tomorrow. That's how it's always been Saturday and Sunday for the last however many years. And now all of a sudden it's like, well, there's a couple big brands. Let's just push it back 30 minutes and have Arizona play a 9:45 a.m. game for their body clocks and have KU play less than a day and a half after they played their last game.
If we haven't learned in the last 5 years that nobody gives a shit about anything but money in college sports, then I don't know what. That's all it is. But
Arizona tipped at what, 10:45 local time in Salt Lake?
Yes.
So what would make them? I probably just don't know, but what would make them think they're going to get more money from playing earlier in the day? Why not play Saturday evening?
Standalone spots.
I think it avoided us having to be in the same window as other big brand. Right? It made it so UNC KU could be separate windows.
100%. Yeah, it's because if they would have put NC State Oakland at 11 at 15 or whatever, not as many people are going to watch that as whatever big brand you want to throw out there. But
also, so first off, we haven't talked about the Sanford game much, but that game took 4 hours. So we played till about 1 a.m. here, and then we're up 20. So, and they come back. So our starters pretty much had to play 40 minutes close to that because we have no bench, and then you have the turnaround, whatever, how many hours you guys just said. So yeah, they looked gassed, and like I said, they were so active on the boards. Like Timberlake shocked me on the boards in the first half, and he went after a loose ball that he was like 20 feet away from that he never could have got. But it was I was shocked. And then Furphy has been active on the boards all year, but yeah, we pretty positive we out rebounded him in the first half. EK had 2 fouls, had to sit rest of the half. So yeah, it just the effort was the same in the second half. And like you said, they were short on every shot. We started 4 for 25. What is that percentage wise?
Less than 20.
Do you guys want to hear a tweet real quick? Just real quick from our guy Adam. Yeah. Adam Sullivan. Gonzaga shot 60% from the field, which is the best shooting performance against Kansas in the NCAA tournament history, replacing the mark of 57% set by USC in 2021.
What the fuck was Nova?
That's the thing. Our last 4 tournament losses have been – has it been our last – yeah. Our last 4 tournament losses have been – no, Arkansas? 4 of our last 5. Sorry.
Arkansas.
4 of our last
Arkansas
6.
wasn't.
With Nova, Auburn, USC, and then this one. It's just crazy. It's just
shit pumping.
And actually, we
none of them close.
Destroyed.
I don't want to shit on this team all day, but we pretty much called this 2 weeks ago. Like, if we make it to the second round, they're going to get pumped. That's kind of what has happened recently. 2021 against USC, Auburn, and then today, obviously. We've gotten.
Okay.
Can I ask a question that we may not want to talk about, and I will ask it a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but a little bit of truth to it?
Mm-hmm.
Did we get the wrong big guy to commit to Kansas this past offseason?
I don't remember I don't know if you guys remember, but
I really just want to move on from it. Don't want to talk about it.
Wasn't he?
I really wanted
this past year.
Yeah, Wyoming.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I really wanted.
And then we kind of stopped once Dickinson became clear. I'm mostly kidding, but after what we just saw, you kind of have to ask.
I will say Dickinson gets his, but I don't know if I've ever seen anyone worse in the pick and roll defensively. I mean, he can't move his feet.
It's so bad.
Holy fuck.
Okay, so I want to have a conversation real quick, and I don't want this to be taken as it's a shot. Like, let's make one thing clear. I like Bill Self's my favorite human being in the world. I want Bill Self to coach at Kansas until he's 100 years old.
Your fiance know that?
Yes, she probably does. I just want to make that clear before I say this next thing, because I truly do. There's nobody else I would rather have at Kansas. But if you were going to look at some things about Bill Self in Kansas that just are weird, so in second round games, he's 11-6, which you would say, yeah, it's pretty damn good. It's March. But 8 of those 11 wins were him as a 1 seed. So he's 8 of those 11 second round games. He's a 1 seed. He's won majority of those, which is good. But
that is good.
Since let's see. So since 2013, we're 0-5 in the second round as a non-1 seed.
1 seed.
And I think we've been the higher seed in all of those games. Yeah. So
4.
Is it
never been worse than 4? So yeah, math adds up.
And we've always kind of said second round games and Elite 8 games, which are quick turnarounds, have always been stressful. But why do we think it is that we seem to just get so? I mean, we knew the pick and roll was going to be a struggle today. We knew it was going to be difficult, and it just felt like we had no plan for it. It felt like we found out they played pick and roll this morning.
First counterpoint, what could this roster have done against the pick and roll that would have been better?
I don't know, but you could have tried a zone.
I'm not trying to just completely. Oh yeah, I was all in on the zone idea, but I just trying to play a little bit of devil's advocate because I agree with your point.
Right.
I agree with it, but at the end of the day, it's like we know what this roster is. We know that Hunter can't guard it, and Hunter's going to have to guard it because if he's not, he's going to be on a guard, and that's going to be even worse. So it's just bad all around, boys. And I don't know I don't know what to do. I would like to talk about a certain player that we had expectations for. That
Marco Jackson.
Without being too mean.
Holy mama.
Where does he rank on the biggest freshman recruiting bust in the history of Bill Self Kansas basketball?
Can he dribble?
Can he do anything? I mean, let us forget In the first 5 minutes of the game against Samford, the guy on the top right of everyone's watching screen right now said he was falling in love with this man.
I was just about to say that. He hit a pull-up jumper in the first half of that Samford game, right out of the gates. And it was right after earlier in the week he'd said, I'm not going anywhere. I'm excited to be a Jayhawk. Wait, what?
I didn't pick up on AB's joke about you saying
So I tweet, I'm falling in love with Elmarko Jackson.
8 turnovers later.
And I am not kidding you. I don't think he did a single positive thing other than the save in the corner against Samford at the end of that game. But it was stunning. He just had a 2-game stretch right there. And we're not talking turnovers where, like, you know, guys getting pressured and he loses the ball or the ball gets tipped away. We're talking some of the most hilarious looking turnovers you will ever see. Like, you know that GIF of, it's an infomercial and it's a guy carrying a bucket of water and he's cleaning his car and he's outside and the bucket and the water, it's all flying around. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That's what Elmarko Jackson reminds me of when he's playing basketball right now. The ball's just flying all over the place. There's nowhere
falling on the ground.
It's crazy.
Face planting.
And I want Elmarko to work, and I want him to stay because we got to have some guys stick around this program for a couple years. But holy smokes, that was a rough 2-game stretch from a ball security standpoint.
Holy smokes. I definitely will say I see more flashes with him than I saw with Bryce. With Bryce, I didn't really see much. I just saw a janky jump shot.
Yeah.
So
now, I mean, he never really became much.
Like, I see flashes of crazy athleticism around the rim with Elmarko.
Breaking news.
30-second.
Breaking. Bill Self has a quote that is not at all a shock to any of us. Not at all a shock to any of us. And
you know, Gary, this team wasn't very good, and you know, we really had to get better and more athletic in the off season.
This is actually a shocking quote, though. I think.
I thought you said it wasn't.
Well, it's shocking to me that Bill Self
just said it wasn't.
No, I mean, it's not going to surprise us, but I'm shocked Bill is going to admit this publicly.
Sure.
Bill Self, for the last month, I've been thinking about next season, to be honest.
Hey, so have we, Bill. Glad we're relatable.
But is that not surprising? I mean, we know
he's told us this team. He's pretty much told us without telling us that this team isn't going to do much.
He literally did with telling us. I think. What did he say? We had to lower the expectations.
Yeah, he said, I think we got to start to change some expectations. And that was before we even knew we sucked.
Hey, 20-second timeout really quick. Sparty up 12. Sparty's up 12. January, February points. Is so, baby.
Yes. 26 points in 10 minutes.
Good.
Sorry to interrupt the conversation about Bill.
That's nasty.
That's a quote.
I
am okay. Now that I know what the quote is, I understand why you said it's shocking because I did not think you would say that out loud.
I know we don't need to talk about Kev too much. I don't even care to, but that's kind of why I thought they just shut him down for the tournament. That was part of it because I feel like Bill, in the back of his mind, knew we weren't going deep and he just wasn't going to play this weekend. So he was just done. Sounds crazy, but I mean, Bill's
like, hey,
really giving up on this team.
Portal's open, no time to waste. Accidentally making the Sweet 16. Like, that's why we came out, didn't play zone the second half. We were like, we got to
tampering season.
Yeah.
Bill was texting guys in the locker room at halftime.
Yeah, he's texting, hey, stud, you see our pick and roll defense? What you think about playing at Kansas next year? Yeah, I'm excited for the portal. And I do agree. Like, at this point,
don't be. We're gonna get excited about some dude we get from like Grambling State, and he's just gonna be. We're gonna talk. We're gonna have a conversation in the pod group today, this week, this summer, whatever. What I'm trying to say. We're gonna get a guy. We're gonna say, let's go live right now. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Like we did with Timberlake, and he's gonna come in and he's gonna do nothing because that's just essentially how
I will not go live if we get a guy from Townsend or anyone like that. But you know who else we've gotten guys from? Michigan,
Timberlake was a dog today.
Tech. And I'm not saying
won more games in Michigan this year.
Why did Nick Timberlake just look like a completely different player today? I'm not saying he was insanely good, but that did not look like the same Timberlake we've seen all year.
There was a stretch in the first half.
I thought the best player in the country.
I truly thought we bullied KU on Twitter into being good at basketball. I really thought we were going to look back on this season and be like, the burners and everybody, the memes, everything, literally bullied this team. It's the most online team we've ever seen. Bill Self tweeting on game day. we're getting burner comments in the post-game interviews after senior night. Like
that's what bothered me. I was it Timberlake that said it, or El Marco maybe said it. Someone said yesterday that they haven't heard any. They don't pay attention to social media. They don't care about the outside noise. That was the biggest load of bullshit quote I've ever heard an athlete spit out in my entire fucking life. All they have talked about for the last month is about, oh well, apparently we're not very good. Oh, this guy said this. Oh well, they got Bill Self to mention burner accounts in a press conference before senior nights. But no, they're not online. They're not online.
They were so online, but I thought it worked. There was a moment in the first half I was like, oh my God, bullying truly does work. And these boys are about to lock in and make a Final Four. But no, it didn't.
Bill Self saying roasted was the greatest thing I've ever heard him say.
I saw Kev was getting roasted.
I wonder why.
Kev was getting roasted.
Why Bill? Is this the most frustrating end of the season we've not like this game specifically, the last month or so? Is this the most frustrated we've been with KU basketball as a whole? Just with everything coming out, injury news, press conferences, quotes, and then turning back on them and questioning why people are upset. And this, it genuinely felt like no one was on the same page. And it was truly the least excited I was going into an NCAA tournament with this team.
100%. Like there was no possible way to even talk yourself into anything, even though we
definitely did. We were talking about winning the Natty last night.
Yeah, but I wasn't.
I wasn't.
I asked
Bri because put the money. I put 100 to 1 ticket down.
I literally offered Bri those same odds, and I was just late.
Bri said FanDuel won't let us lose.
Yeah, FanDuel Mafia.
They're out there dictating.
Yeah,
that was my only line of confidence today was that I didn't see one person take KU, and for the first time ever, the public was right. One other quick stat I want to throw out: old colleague Scott Chasen tweeted out a stat that was fun about the Kansas basketball Jayhawks. KU did not win back-to-back games in the year 2024, boys. Isn't that fucking bananas? Say that out loud.
Oh my God, I had to think about that for a second. Also, when you asked
that's not true either. It's just not true. They did February 17th, February 24th. And
we want to talk mutual funds, boys?
And January 13th, January 6th. So 3 times it happened. But point still stands. They didn't win 3 straight.
That's crazy, actually. I mean, that is crazy.
That just took a wild turn, the whole thing.
Maybe I misread the tweet at first.
Probably.
Breaking again. Sorry.
Timeout.
I'm just going to keep saying breaking.
Full here.
Anytime I see a new quote.
TV timeout. Let's go to an ad.
I haven't even read this one yet.
Called too many.
Live.
You've called as many timeouts as Bill called today. We were out of timeouts at half.
You knew that we were fucked when he called one in the first 8 seconds of the game.
But it worked. I was like, he's back. Okay, either way. Timeout. Quote, Hunter Dickinson on his 1 season playing for Kansas men's basketball.
Oh.
I had expectations coming in of what it was going to be like. And, it was even better than I expected to be able to play for Coach Self and to be able to play with these guys and just be able to play in Allen Fieldhouse. You can kind of almost dream of, when you're growing up playing basketball to be able to play on the stage for this program. Obviously it didn't go the way we wanted, but, I had a lot of fun this year and, I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Well, let's remind the great folks listening to the Ain't No Seeds podcast of his quote before the season started about how he liked being preseason number 1 because, he wants everyone to know how good we are.
And we're better
for the
than
fucking 4th time in KU history that we've been number 1 preseason, we failed to make it out of the first weekend.
We're better than you.
And I got to go find that tweet. I was doing that when I tweeted it.
You nailed it.
The minute I tweeted it out.
I think I sent it to our group so you can find the picture in our group text. But you asked about frustrated with the team. I was going to ask you guys, was this like the least phased you've ever been after a tournament loss?
No, because they got me excited in the first half. I feel like USC and Auburn were over before they started. This one, I was like, all right, we were winning this game at halftime. Let's not forget that. But yeah, I mean, it overall as a whole, in terms of like, am I let down that they lost? No, I expected them to lose. I just got excited during the game.
I was just trying to think because USC, that was just a weird year with the no fans. Auburn.
But I will say USC was like a moment, and Bill said it in his press conference. And as AB's pointed out, we didn't change the roster that much. But that USC game was a moment of like, oh my God, we are not even close to as talented as this team. Like it was the first time I think a KU loss had come down to us feeling like we didn't have the dudes on the floor from a talent standpoint, which I think this one's kind of up there too.
Dude, yeah. Who's talented on this team?
But it just depends. It depends on the level of talent you're talking about. Like everyone's I'm definitely not as mad about this law, like 100%. We have said, as you said, B-Turn, we've said for weeks this is how this team was going out. It was so clear that it would go out like this. But
a second weekend, I would have been thrilled. I mean, you give Bill Self, I tweeted it earlier. I went back to his Illinois Oral Roberts days, Tulsa days, whatever. He was 11-3 in his career in the Sweet 16. One of them was a loss to KU when he was at Illinois. The other one, we obviously talked about at Michigan State, where we should have won. And then the third one, I don't even care to talk about because I'll start getting pissed. But 11-3, you give him days to prepare, probably would have held Edie to 8-6.
Yeah, I know. We would have whatever.
I'm just saying, like, I would have been thrilled with the second weekend. And then maybe rumors would have started coming up about Kev trying to play. But yeah, I just had a feeling. I think me and AB, we didn't feel very confident about the Gonzaga game. I also wanted to ask, were we favored in the USC and the Auburn games?
No.
I thought we were favored against USC.
I think we were 2.5-point dogs, I thought.
I can find it in a sec.
Oh, we know you can.
You guys can keep talking. It might take a second.
Well, I was going to add, and I just lost the tweet. How about Twitter when you're on the For You page and you see a tweet you like and then it auto refreshes and then you can't find it?
Dude, I want to rant about that because TikTok's doing the same thing now too. They just let you watch just enough of a video and then it just scans it.
And then I spend the next hour looking for any type of clue I can remember from the video or the tweet.
Anything.
Golly. Don't you just love watching players that we recruited in the portal ball out while we had no one?
USC -1.
Okay, I wanted to my guy Glenn Kinley from KSNT. He had the bit longer quote that Bill said. He said, "I think for the last month I've been thinking about next season. Not in moments during the game, obviously, but we could have done a much better job as a staff putting more guys out there that we could play this year. So that's something I've thought about for a long time."
See, that's why it's tough to give them a pass on, obviously, one of the guys they went after. Like, and you talked about it, right? Everyone had high hopes for Arterio as a player because of how he looked in Puerto Rico. But this was a guy that didn't have a ton of experience at the D1 level. Obviously, he played behind a lot of guards at Texas, but he averaged 4 points a game. Like, he wasn't a proven commodity. Yeah, he was a huge recruit, McDonald's guy. But they put all their eggs in one basket of a guy that hasn't proved much and a guy that had domestic abuse history. Like, you took a huge risk in two different ways. And then, yeah, Timby, he was getting recruited by UConn. I'm not too mad at that.
In the comments, wilding out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like. We've talked about maybe having the staff having like a scout, like a guy that is just evaluating talent. Like maybe they need some help with that because the transfer portal's still fairly new. Like, I don't think Bill likes it very much. I think he obviously likes guys that stick around, and no one's better at developing players. So I think it could be tough because you could get a guy that comes in and is not used to Bill's self-style, and we know what that is, and it's guarding and playing hard, and you're going to need to play team basketball. And some guys that have put up numbers at other schools, they might not be willing to do that. Like Zeke Mayo, people are talking about him in the comments. I think he's a really good player. But what if he comes here and he wants to be ball dominant? He wants the ball. He wants to average 20. You have Dajuan running the point.
Kyle, Kyle, you're 100% right. I was just laughing about your KT. You went into detail about why he may not be doing the best scouting job based on what he's looking at.
Oh, he can scout talent. I'll tell you that.
Braden, a point to add to what you just said. It's why Tyon didn't work here. Like, you watched Tyon last night. Obviously, he looks fucking awesome. And, like, we wonder how it would be at KU. It's just not how Bill does it, really.
Exactly
unless
where
it's a proven guy that's been 2 or 3 years, and then you can take over. Then it's your turn. You're Ocha, you're Jalen, you're Kev, you're whoever. It's just not how it works with incoming guys, and that's why I'm not that excited about any transfer we bring in, because I don't know that they could be the most talented player in the world. Is Bill going to trust him enough to go out and take over a ball game?
That's why, kind of like you said, AB, we need, or maybe it was one of you dorks, about players. We need players to just stick around. We need like a Rakeese Passmore to come in, and if we get Liam McNeely, those guys, I'm not expecting them to come in as freshmen and contribute, but guys like that stick around and build system, learn a system, become dogs, and they all play together as a group. And maybe 2-3 years from now, they're national title contender. Like, I'm not saying they won't have a chance to win a natty next year or whatever, but we need guys to stick around, develop, become good as a team playing together. And I don't know. I think a lot of our,
to me, like a great mix of what would look awesome as a team is if you combine a little bit of last year's team and this year's team, where it's like, imagine if last year it was Dajuan, Grady Dick, because you also went and got a really talented freshman, but then McCuller, Jalen, and Hunter Dickinson. Like, what if instead of these years where we had an awkward lineup last year, didn't even have a center that you could play on the roster, and then this year we don't have enough talent around Dickinson. So instead, like, to me, the best type of lineup is you have Dajuan and a Jalen type guy that have been around the program, but you also have the really talented freshman, a transfer portal guy in McCuller, and another transfer portal guy in Dickinson. Like, to me, that is the way you're going to start to see. Did I just name 6 players, by the way? Who knows? But either way,
more than we had on this roster.
Yeah, my point is, like, you've got to still – we're missing on just way too many recruits.
Yeah, and I'm sitting here trying to think about the portal. I'm trying to think about the guys we've gotten recently that have worked out. Obviously, I mean, Kev did, but I guess it didn't end like it wanted it to. But then you got like a Joe Yesufu, you got Timberlake. I'm trying to think of all the transfers. Like, obviously we got Malik Newman. He struggled to start off. He ended up being insane in March.
I mean, Diedrich was really good. Malik was good. Charlie Moore not.
Oh, KJ Lawson was amazing.
KJ was just a package deal.
Remy helped us win a natty.
Remy was good.
But no one starts off quick, I feel like. I guess Diedrich.
Yeah.
And Hunter, but Hunter's going to put up numbers no matter what.
That's why when AB, we say, like, we act like the portal is just something that we can't rely on. I think it is. I think we can. We just got to, like.
You can, but not to completely overhaul a roster in my mind.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to have to do next year, which is why I'm not going to be having national title hopes next year regardless.
Tyson Walker. No.
Okay, but
breaking Iowa State scoreless 5 minutes in.
Dude,
oh boy.
Talk about
Big 12.
PU.
How many teams do we have left? Iowa
TJ
State.
Otzelberg to Kentucky.
Who do we have left? Iowa State, Texas.
Baylor.
Texas will be done today.
No, they won't.
We got Tennessee -6 to the moon.
Texas wins, baby. You're trusting Rick Barnes in March?
I can't believe you.
Michigan State's losing?
Yes.
Yeah.
What?
RJ Davis.
God damn it.
Jeez, what's he got to do with it?
Oh, I need to win both those bets.
But what did God do, man?
He ruined it.
Sorry.
Houston.
Houston. Jesus, what's wrong with us? So we have 4? How many do we have left? Texas, Houston,
4
Iowa State, Baylor. Hawks are out. Houston's probably got to come out of that region, I feel like.
Duke's taking them down. Just kidding. I've got Houston winning it all.
Yeah, should we talk about KU anymore, or should we just talk about the tournament?
Well, I wanted to throw out one last scenario, and then I'm probably going to hop off here in a second.
Yeah, I got to get moving here soon.
But on the portal discussion and hauling this entire roster, what if there's a world, I don't know who the 2-man is, and I think I've thrown this to you before, AB, but like, AB, you said you're not going to have national title expectations next year. Let's pretend Furphy announces he's back. Dajuan's back. Even let's say KJ's back and Hunter's back. We returned 4 starters from a team that stunk out loud.
It's not moving,
but what if instead of going and getting a Nick Timberlake, you go out and I'm not saying it'll be LJ Cryer, but let's say you get the level of player that LJ Cryer is from a school like a Baylor or a big program school, a guy that is an established star player from another school, and you plug him in at the 2 for this team. I think that lineup right there could get my hopes up for a national title.
Just pay
Assuming
like
you also get some bench guys so that you don't
Sure,
have to play KJ
but
35.
one of the big questions we've had and we've talked about on this episode, we've talked about on many episodes. This team we just watched doesn't have a lot of dogs. It's deeper than just talent. I guess the idea of it sounds okay, but do we have a killer instinct? Who's the guy that's going to get the shot at the end of the game if we need one?
It'd be the 2-man I'm plugging
So
in.
that's a lot of expectations for us to find this together. And we'll know more by Monday, I bet. Once the tournament's down to 16 teams, guys start entering the portal, this and that. But if it's fucking Zeke Mayo or whatever his name is, no thank you. Because we just nothing other than block you. He blocked my friend on Twitter. But what I like, we've been talking this whole time how we don't want guys from Towson. The guy from South Dakota State's going to be the answer just because he grew up in the same town that KU plays in. Like, I don't want that.
You got
work in football. Just kidding.
Some of them work. Like Tyson Walker at Michigan State. I mean, he was like a Northeastern guy.
Connect. I mean, yeah, some of them do work. I'm not.
Yeah, Northern Colorado for Connect.
But I would be crazy
I get it,
say,
but not getting excited. I get it, not getting excited.
Yeah.
What you do is just pay like a KJ Simpson like $5 million to just not go pro, and come play at Kansas for a year, and then just go pro next year.
Simple as that.
NIL. Start hitting bets. We donate all of that to Kansas. You start.
Iowa State on the board.
Go pro. Oh,
20 minutes in.
1 point.
Wow, cooking. Wow.
Big 12 stinks.
Okay, so yeah, I saw someone say we need 3 and D, which is I agree, but I think what we need to remember that is if Johnny Furphy comes back next season, he's going to be a freaking superstar. Like I think he's going to take that step that we saw in Ochai take. Maybe not that level because he's still a little young, but I think Furphy could average 15 to 18 a game next year and be an absolute star while also being bigger, while being better at defense. And if you give him like another guard next to him that's also a threat from the outside, I think that will help Furphy a whole lot. So I don't know. I'm not totally out. I hope we don't roll back those 4 as a starting lineup and hope we get a really good 2, but I could talk myself into us.
So let me ask you this: if we substituted this Magic 2 guard in for Timberlake today,
Magic.
Well, I guess that's not everything because KJ probably wouldn't be on the team. But my point being, defense is still going to have question marks, maybe more question marks.
That's what.
Right? Like Hunter's still not going to be able to guard a pick and roll. Hunter, and that's whether we like it or not. That is. We're not doing this, Prince. We're not doing this discussion again. But I forgot where I was at. Oh yeah, I don't know. I don't want to dunk on the guy anymore because I feel bad.
What if you just
team? But Hunter's defense is a problem, and it's not like we're gonna. It would take a complete shift of defensive mentality from Will himself, and I know that's not his name. I just like calling him that to make that effective on the defensive end.
Right. AB texted me last night and goes, Braden Eugene ... And I just laughed for so long.
He sent 17 ha-ha-has. He's doing it again right now. I don't want to talk about last night. I want to talk about fucking KU again because this team is fucked.
I want to say, what if we're talking about getting scoring. What if we just go disgusting and just recruit defenders?
No.
Hey.
I can't do no shooting ever again. I can't do it.
Dude, KJ can shoot. He's going to be a 3-point shooter next year.
I can't do 2020 offseason Marcus Garrett clips in an empty gym of him making threes and us being like, wow, Marcus Garrett learned how to shoot. I can't do it.
Uh-oh.
What? Oh, no.
You guys just don't get movie references, do you?
What did he say?
Happy learned how to putt. Uh-oh. Marcus Garrett learned how to shoot. You guys don't expect a Happy Gilmore reference when they announced Happy Gilmore 2 yesterday?
Pick up on the Happy learned how to putt quote without using that line. Just saying uh-oh is not a movie reference.
You said everything was the same except for the name of the person.
Oh.
Marcus learned how to shoot. Uh-oh.
Okay.
That's something that I would have tweeted out 17 times.
Yeah,
I probably did
You
in the
love that
offseason.
video. But I mean, you cannot. Here's what will happen if we don't go get a shooter. We will see a bunch of off-season clips of Dajuan and KJ in the gym. KJ's going to make 5 threes in a row, and Dajuan's going to make a bunch. And Bill's going to talk about how the shooting's been very improved. And we're going to be like, man, KJ's kind of a stretch 4, and now you have more spacing for Hunter. I can't. I won't do it. We have to add
It won't do it.
a shooter.
They will.
At
They
least.
tried the last
And
year,
in an
though.
ideal world, if KJ somehow isn't back, based on his comment, it sounds like this will actually be something that may be discussed. Let's just talk. Can we just talk about this real quick and then we'll go?
The fact that North Carolina's on a 20-2 run right now?
God damn. What happens if KJ does leave and we go get or we keep Dajuan and we get a solid 2 that can shoot it. We keep Furphy and then we get a stretch 4. Are you in on a natty in that scenario, AB?
We've said for a month we just need 3 guys that can shoot it around Dajuan and Hunter, and we will be lethal because those 2 will run the pick and roll. That's like we said it. KJ, we love KJ, but they're running the pick and roll, and obviously KJ can't stretch it, so then it just gets muddied up and gross in the paint. If you surround them with 2 to 3 shooters, absolutely, and you need guys off the bench too because this is back-to-back years, and you can almost go back to 22 because Remy didn't really play to start the year. Mitch was solid. We love Mitch. Tucker DeVries from Drake.
Like he's not going to follow his dad to whatever job his dad gets.
That's the point. His dad's coaching here next year.
Yep.
He's
an assistant, and that's our talent.
Derek Lars wants, baby.
Yeah, 3 shooters.
Awesome
but that's what scares me, though. It's like, what if you go get a mid-major shooter like Timby that can't defend? And then that leaves you with 2 guys right there already in the starting lineup that can't defend.
Yeah, I mean,
all year we're top 10 defensively, right, on KenPom.
I've got questions about
KenPom. Problem defensively, but defense wasn't this team's issue.
But also Kevin had to play a huge factor into that defensively.
Updated numbers. What do you guys think are the teams that compare to this KU team in terms of being not very good?
From history?
Yeah, KU teams that are just not very good. 2021?
Well, I think we match up really closely with 2015 KU, don't we?
So 2015 KU finished the season with an adjusted efficiency metric rating of 22.72 on KenPom.com. KU this year finishes 17.95, the worst by 2 full points of any team in the Bill Self era. It's bad.
I remember when I got on one of the episodes and I was like, man, the years that we aren't a national title contender just suck. Like, it just feels so good this year knowing that this team is a legit national title contender.
Never forget AB's
like in Big 12 play too.
Regular season games.
Huh? Yeah, that's really bad. Yeah, we've got some comments popping off. Let's we can't get out of here without a shout out to the Kansas basketball Jayhawks for winning a tournament game today.
Yeah,
this big comeback. Big comeback for the Jayhawks. You know, they beat a good Michigan team. They were down 10 in the fourth quarter. Big time shot to beat the buzzer with 8 seconds left.
What a friendly bounce.
The friendliest of, Braden. It hit the rim 6 times and goes in.
Just like Colorado yesterday. Shades of Colorado and KJ Simpson.
Shades of Kawhi Leonard.
P's and P's.
On the day of the Game of Thrones finale.
Against former Jayhawk, Joel Embiid.
Did anyone on Florida cry? Turn it up.
I don't know, but that's a guard
also,
that's a guard we should have went and got was like Walter Clayton from Florida. Oh, here he goes.
Remember this video?
No, I don't even. I can't see it.
There goes her eye. You're good there.
This is commitment.
Do you remember how bad this was?
Hey, big fella.
Hey, bud.
Glass breaking. This was made on iMovie.
Why?
What's up, big fella?
Guy? Hey, bud.
We thought we were so set. We thought we were
Dude.
so set.
When I woke up, look at the last comment. God, I love that.
The Fires.
It's coming. No. Colorado,
I'm
Final
kidding.
Four.
I'm kidding.
Fires. Colorado, Final Four. Thought I got great value. I did.
Turn it up.
She's still
I told
alive.
you guys Florida was a one and done this year.
When I woke up and Hunter committed, I don't know if I've ever been that happy in my life, because I think we all knew we needed a center, and weren't we already the favorite to win it all, or thought we could be preseason one?
Yep.
Without him, or
Because Uday was going to be back, and we were all like, "Oh, Uday year 2 is going to be."
and Kev came back.
Well, Kev had not come back.
Oh yeah, he hadn't.
But we thought Arterio Morris and Nick Timberlake were going to be superstars. So
I gotta find something before we get out of here. Just
I love how many.
No, I'm looking.
Somebody start counting how many times each episode we say, "All right, last thing. All right, before we get out of here. All right."
When did Hunter commit?
It was like late April, I think.
Okay, I'm trying.
Actually, I could that video I was just looking at, but now I lost it because Twitter did that thing.
Nothing like it.
It does suck not going to the second weekend back-to-back years. I mean, I sound spoiled, but it just sucks not having that whole week of anticipation of them at least playing.
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
4 of the last 5 tournaments, boys. Yeah. Good thing we won the Natty in 22. Hey,
yeah.
we sneaky were seconds away from 5 straight second-round losses.
I tweeted that out the other day. That
How
picture
hard it is.
Creighton down 1 with the ball, and they just threw it right to Ochai for a dunk.
But yeah, I guess one last thing for the last time. I tweeted about it earlier. Bill, I have no clue how long he's going to coach. I don't even know if he knows. But if Bill has 5 or so years left, you got to get reckless almost with the guys that you got to hurt some feelings. You got to just go full savage mode this off season and do whatever it takes to put a national title contender on the floor. And if that's kicking off starters that have played on some of your really good teams or moving them to the bench, that's what you got to do. Because if you have 5 years left to coach, I don't know how many legit cracks you have at winning a title. You're going to have. He's probably not going to be worse than a 4 in a tournament, so you're always going to have a semi chance to go on a run. But to actually be a legit national title contender is so hard. And Rye, you always say it, you give Bill Self chances, give him a 1 or 2 seed. He's going to put you in a position to do it. So he's got to go full savage mode. I don't know how many more cracks he has at it, but I want to see Bill get another one, or at least get to another Final Four. And sometimes you just got to be a dickhead and do whatever it takes to do that.
I do think, as much as we always said, Bill wanted just 1 title, Bill wanted 2 titles. And I think we all agree, that second title has, not that he was always solidified, but he truly is solidified as a top 5, 10 coach, whatever you want to call him, of all time. But a third puts him in Roy, K, Dean Smith, Wood type talk. So it's
Tom Izzo.
Nope.
There's one more thing we have to talk about.
Oh,
we have to.
What?
Calipari.
Oh,
yeah. We have to talk about Kentucky losing.
Is it halftime in North Carolina at least?
Yes,
40-31. Carolina.
Okay, I really want to watch that game. So let's get this
quick.
off.
This is it, Kentucky.
Can you imagine having to pay a guy $33 million to get rid of him?
I heard it's not. I heard it's not that bad. I heard it's not that bad. Not that bad.
I saw one video on this guy. It's let me explain to you buyouts, but it's pretty bad either way.
Oh, it's bad, but it's not $33 million up front and got to be paid within a month or whatever. Basically what I'm saying is they can do it. It's very feasible that they can do it.
Everyone can. I mean, Jimmo Fisher got bought out. It always can happen. But the problem is Kentucky would then have to go give an absolute bag to another guy. And who's the no-brainer hire for Kentucky?
Curtis Townsend.
I agree. But Townsend's going to require $30 million up front of his own. So if is there anyone connected with Kentucky that's out there?
Well, former players, former coaches.
Well, I've got a
Chris Beard's interesting.
Yeah,
they'll always say Billy Donovan. Billy Donovan ain't coming back.
He might be gone out of a job after this year.
They always say Brad Stevens. Brad Stevens ain't coming back.
Jay Wright.
Jay Wright ain't coming back. If he is, it's to save Villanova's program.
I mean, it's Kentucky, though. Like, there's some names out there that would take that job.
I think who they would call. Who was it?
Brady Morningstar?
Well, no, I think Oates would be in the conversation, but God,
I was going to say
Nate don't play any offense or defense.
Would he get shit on? Does Alabama care enough about basketball for a coach to move from SEC to SEC to shit on him?
I think they'd get over it pretty quick. But
Chris Beard got murdered.
This is a good idea. What if if Cal gets fired, what if we just put him in a recruiting role?
We'll wrap it up. But it's so weird that he had Dillingham and Shepard just coming off the bench all year.
He's bad.
I know they played plenty of minutes and maybe they won plenty of games and they still scored effectively, but their starting five really wasn't that good besides Reeves. You have 2 top 10, top 5 caliber picks coming off the bench.
I don't understand it. I mean, and their fan base was screaming about it all year. So he knew it was something that people were frustrated with. But
look at the last comment.
Bruce Pearl. Can we talk about Bruce Pearl real quick? If they don't win that New Mexico State game that we were all watching together in AB's grandma's living room in 2019, remember that game? It went to overtime, and New Mexico State should have won that game.
Hawks won it all that year.
Bruce Pearl would be nothing without that win. Because what have they done since?
That's how crazy the tournament is. Like, they legit probably, I don't know if they would have beat Tech, but they had a great chance to win it all if they just don't foul Virginia late. So, it goes from almost losing in the first round to almost winning a natty. But,
I've got the Bruce Pearl stats at Auburn in his 10 years.
Wow.
We'll go
what
first
a wild
3 years.
ending to that game yesterday, by the way.
No tournament. Lost in the second round. Made the Final Four. No tournament. Round 2, round 1. Hasn't made it past the first weekend. Except for that one tournament.
Dude, Bruce Pearl, if Kentucky paid John Calipari $33 million to turn around and hire Bruce Pearl, would be the funniest thing of all time. Now, if you go get Scott Drew, which won't happen, if you go get Tommy Lloyd, I saw someone mention Tommy Lloyd. I love him. I would take him.
Would you leave Arizona?
But that's the thing. Now that they're in the Big 12, he's living in freaking Arizona, and he's the man. I don't know. He's a West Coast guy he was at Gonzaga for a long time. So
do you guys think Cal's for sure gone?
No.
And
I think he'll be back.
I wanted to say, if you put yourself in Kentucky's fans' shoes, would you guys want him gone? Like, if this was Bill Self doing this?
Yes, I would.
Because obviously you win a natty in 2012, but then there's been NITs. There's been plenty of first round exits, first weekend exits. Like, Bill's had his first weekend exits, but it's not like it's first round. Like, losing in the round of 32 really isn't that crazy. I think making the Sweet 16 is really hard. You got to make it out of a 4-team region. But if Bill Self had done what Calipari's done since 2012, or I guess 2008 when we won it, with that much talent too,
I mean, if Bill's buyout was this, the buyout makes it tough because. But like AB said, there's always a way, and if they really want him gone, they'll make it happen. But he's got a freaking lifetime contract. Like, he has clauses in his contract that are like he gets to be an ambassador, and they're going to pay him $1 million a year to be an ambassador of the program when he officially wants to retire. Like, it's a special assistant to the AD or something. Like, it's just a crazy contract because they thought he was so damn good. But the thing that's hard about that is there a no-brainer guy? Like, I think it's one of those things you have to know you've got a star coming in.
So how about another guy that may be a little merchant off of barely squeaking out of the first round and going on a run, Dusty May?
Yeah. I mean, talk about a guy about to get the Louisville job, it sounds like. So
he's a guy.
But that's the thing is firing John Calipari for Dusty May, who has one good run and then underachieved this year.
So, but here's the question, and the only issue I have with what you're saying, because I do agree with it, is you have to know you have to have someone better. How good is Cal?
I know.
Obviously a big name, but like I feel like some of the names we've mentioned are significantly better at coaching basketball than John Calipari at this point. And if it wasn't a guy that's been a top 3 coach face in college basketball for the last 15 years, like for better or for worse, I mean, he's definitely gone on runs. He's won a natty. He's been to another one. He's been to Final Fours. There was a time where I thought he was underrated as a coach when he just felt like he went to the Final Four every year. But since 2015, man, it's been bad, and it's a trend. I mean, a decade of not succeeding in March is a trend, especially for a program like Kentucky.
Yeah, he's just a bad coach. Like, he doesn't make adjustments. Their offense is a disaster. Like B-Turn pointed out, they don't bring in – I mean, not offense is a disaster, but like their sets late in that game when they needed to run stuff because the Oakland zone was messing with them, they were doing nothing. They were just running ISO ball. He had nothing ran up. This guy's calling us a loser.
Yeah, no sets late.
Doug,
you guys are
quite mean.
Whom?
What do you want us to say about this team? And when have we ever questioned Bill Self?
You missed the part where I said Bill Self's my favorite.
Yeah, we literally blew Bill Self. Obviously, there's ways that we can say that he didn't do perfect this year, but this whole time, all 3 of us have been on Bill's side.
Maybe he joined thinking we were talking about coaches replacing Bill, not Calipari. But either way, that was me.
He's got 2 first names, so sorry.
He's the best coach in Kansas history.
Yeah, but Calipari, like I guess to sum it up with the Calipari stuff, like it's not just that they're getting upset; it's that he doesn't make any adjustments. He doesn't know what to do in the moment.
You guys are such losers.
He gets out coached in every situation. So that's why I would want him gone if it were flipped. But they're in a tough spot.
He knows what we're talking about.
Yeah. Can I get one just main point about college basketball media out of the way really quick? Something that's grinded my gears over the last week, then we haven't had a chance to talk about it.
Yeah.
Does it bother you guys? Does it bother you guys that every year we see the same 20 guys, national college basketball guys, that will say the tournament's crazy, the tournament's unexpected. Oh, look at this. This is March. And every damn year they choose their Final Four, and it's 3 1 seeds and a 2 seed. And they're like, I'm going to go out on a limb. Tennessee's going to make it this year. It's like, it really bothers me. It really does. Like, it
came out of nowhere.
I know it did, but I just like, when else am I going to say? I wanted to say it last episode. We had to talk about Kevin for 90 minutes. I don't know.
Really
it's
hard.
On my mind. I know it's really hard, but that's kind of my thing. Like, go out on a limb.
Because then that's another thing too. Because when you're filling out brackets, you like don't want to put 1 and 2 seeds because you don't want to be chalky.
Yeah. So then I pick Auburn over Utah, and look at me. Like,
I wanted to say, like, now that we're out, who are some teams that we can absolutely not have win it all, and who are some teams you wouldn't mind seeing win it?
UConn can't do it again.
Yeah, I don't want UConn to win it again. I was going to say we're in a good spot because we don't have a situation where Kentucky could win it, or like last year we thought K-State were going to sleepwalk to a Final Four. They should have. Missouri we thought was going to make an elite. Like last year was almost a nightmare scenario and ended up being hilarious. But Duke winning would suck. We obviously don't want that. But am I crazy to say that I would be fine with Houston winning it?
No.
I'd be
fine. I think people get – a lot of people they will say we can't have another Big 12 team win it. It doesn't really affect me that much.
I love to say that we've had if we've had 3 of the last 5 national titles and it's been 3 different teams, that would be a pretty big flex.
Like the year Tech made the Natty, I was all in on Tech. Mahomes was crushing Coors Lights behind the bench, and I enjoyed watching that team. Virginia was getting lucky that whole tournament run, losing me a bunch of money. I was all in on Tech. So Tech almost won it too. But and obviously Scott Drew has bugged us throughout the years and annoyed us.
I don't want Scott Drew.
No, not this year, but that year they won it. A lot of our fans, and I think you guys didn't want Baylor either, but I wasn't necessarily rooting for Baylor. It didn't really bother me that they
I will say I was like, it made me sick to my stomach to think that Scott Drew had as many national titles as Bill Self. Maybe we need Scott Drew to win a national title because I think that motivated Bill. I think Bill was like, I got to win another because Scott Drew's officially caught me. And I think he was sick to his stomach thinking of that. So maybe we do need to cheer for Scott Drew. But I'd probably say I'm rooting for Houston. Well, probably Gonzaga. I kind of want Mark Few to get it. I truly feel bad for Mark Few. I want him to get a title. And I always cheer for the team that shipped off Kansas. So
would be the weirdest year for them to win it. Like there's been so many teams they've had where we're like, oh, this team's definitely going to win it. Obviously, the year they were they undefeated going into that Baylor game?
Yes.
God, I didn't think they could lose. I didn't think it was possible.
That was crazy.
So
I wish we would have got that game with the crowd.
Timmy, Kispert.
John.
I'd
say Houston, Gonzaga, and do you guys? I mean, Purdue. I just want to keep. I think Purdue losing is funny, and I can't stand the way Edey gets officiated, especially when you compare it to how Dickinson gets officiated. But that's a whole nother story. I don't think I want Purdue, but I could probably live with it.
Yeah, I could too. John Doe in the comments said Houston isn't a title contender according to B-Turn. I did say that. I still worry about their offense, dude. Like I know Shed on both ends is really good, but I was even looking at his splits. He's like 40% total from the field and like 31% from three. Like they are definitely capable some nights of scoring like 50 or less. But I think that region is perfect for them.
Yeah, I just can't see them losing unless Duke gets like stupid hot or something. But
yes, so they feel like an Elite Eight lock. Same with UConn now. UConn's going to play who in the Sweet 16?
San Diego State or
they're tough with experience.
Yale.
UConn's going to win it all, boys. Unfortunately,
no, they're not.
They're a wagon. They're
so not.
They're
losing
unless early fist fights a fan. Like that is the only thing that can stop this.
I'll knock you out. You want to get knocked out, buddy? You ever been knocked out?
All
That's
right. Well,
so tough of him to do with security surrounding him.
I know.
You want to get
all
knocked
right.
out?
I want to go watch this tournament. Sounds like Iowa State's on an absolute tear.
Well, they got hot. I'll tell you that.
Did?
They started 3 for 17 from the floor, and then they made like their next 4.
Unbelievable. Michigan State's down 9. That sucks.
It's literally it was 20.
They'll come back.
What was it? 26-14. Sparty, something like that.
It sucks because you have money on them, or it sucks because
I want to see Izzo get a second championship.
I have them +4 and money line, so I thought we were cooking when you guys were
small window.
Yeah. So.
All right, boys.
All right.
Go Hawks.